Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, we'll have the latest from Valhalla in Louisville, where the world's #1 golfer was arrested on his way to the course this morning. And President Biden commemorates the 70th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education at the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington.
And rain chances linger into tomorrow, but we are trending drier by Sunday. Your first alert forecast on the way as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We continue to follow what's happening at the PGA Championship at Valhalla Golf Club in Louisville. It's been quite a day up there. The world's #1 golfer and Masters champion Scottie Scheffler was arrested on his way to the course this morning. Police say Scheffler pulled into the other lane where oncoming traffic was. In a citation obtained by our sister station, it says Scheffler refused to comply and drove off, dragging a detective to the ground.
He's charged with assault second and criminal mischief and disregarding the officer's signals. Those are all misdemeanors. The assault second's actually felony.
Scheffler was eventually released from jail and even birdied the first hole to begin his second round this morning. He released a statement about the incident, which he described as a, quote, big misunderstanding. You can read the entire statement on our website, WYMT.com. Now, before that incident with Scottie Scheffler, a man was hit and killed by a shuttle bus near Valhalla. In a statement released by Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg, he says John Mills was killed as he was trying to cross Shelbyville Road near the golf course. Officials with the PGA say Mills was a worker for one of the vendors. Now, here's the entire statement from Mayor Greenberg about that incident. Quote, this morning our city experienced a tragic accident that took the life of John Mills, who will be greatly missed by his family and our community. Our focus is on this family who lost their loved one. I've spoken with members of Mr. Mills's family to convey our city's condolences. That crash happened around 5 a.m. this morning. At least 4 people are dead in Texas following severe weather. Powerful winds and rain slammed the southeastern part of the state for the second time this month before moving into Louisiana. Crews are still working to get power back on for hundreds of thousands of customers. CBS's Dave Malkoff reports from Houston, which was hit especially hard.
The city of Houston is in recovery mode after winds up to 100 miles per hour and rain slammed southeast Texas for the second time in a month.
Stay away from downtown. Stay off the road.
Streets downtown are now littered with glass from high-rise buildings that were blown out.
We all took cover in the bathroom. Windows blown out, trees flying everywhere.
All members, please go to the middle of the store.
In Houston, people packed into a Costco to take shelter before the lights went out. At one point, about 1 million customers in the affected areas were left in the dark.
We are going to have to talk about this disaster in weeks, not days.
The storm turned fatal for some, including an elderly worker who was killed after a crane fell onto the cab of his cement truck.
It's amazing how many people came so close to losing everything. And we need to keep them in our thoughts.
Just north of Houston, rounds of extreme weather have slammed the area in recent weeks, and residents there are still shaken up.
All this was someone's house.
It's everyone's lives, just on the street.
As the cleanup continues, officials are urging non-essential workers to stay off the streets and roads and continue to have patience with first responders. Dave Malkoff, CBS News, Houston.
The Houston School District closed all public schools Friday and said they would reopen on Monday.
Well, the storm system that brought the damage to Texas and Louisiana yesterday is the same parent storm system that's bringing some showers to our region on this Friday. Some good news for us, though. We have no severe weather issues, but we are tracking some widespread rain chances. Zooming into some heavier downpours on top of Manchester and Clay County, also pushing into parts of Rockcastle, Laurel, and Jackson counties, and for Estill into Lee and Owsley counties at this hour. Some more light showers in Floyd County, pushing into Pike County, also for parts of Letcher County, not too far away Illinois from downtown Whitesburg, and some more light showers close to the Mountain Parkway, also close to I-64 in Moorhead over in Rowan County at this hour. A live look from gloomy and soggy London Corbin Airport, tracking some cloud cover and some wet roads back in the distance. That current temperature up to 65 degrees, up to 67 for Pikeville, 68 for Jackson, 69 over in Irvin for Estill County at this hour. And more light showers are possible to go into this evening. Also tracking some patchy fog to wake up and kick off this weekend. A few more showers on the way tomorrow. Not as widespread as today's rain chance, but some showers are possible tomorrow. Now we are trending drier and warmer by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. All those details coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. President Biden used the anniversary of a landmark Supreme Court ruling to tout the work America has done to ensure that all people, regardless of race, are treated equally. But the movement to integrate schools is losing steam in many areas of the country. This comes as the president is trying to shore up support among black voters ahead of the presidential election. CBS's Willie James Inman has more from Washington.
President Biden arrived at the National Museum of African American History and Culture to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the landmark Supreme Court ruling ending school segregation.
When the Supreme Court ruled in Brown versus the Board of Education that racial segregation in public schools is unconstitutional, a prayer was answered in a long struggle for freedom.
Thursday, the president met with some of the plaintiffs in the case and their families at the White House. They praised the Supreme Court ruling, saying it impacted the lives of every American. But they acknowledged the fight to end separate but equal is not over.
We know we have a lot of work to do in that education is still challenging in some places, but we have to realize that education is foundational to our country.
In the last decade, the number of suburban school districts with 90 to 100% of non-white students has doubled in the nation's 25 largest metropolitan areas. These so-called resegregated schools face limited resources and more teacher shortages than predominantly white schools. Those districts represent 30% of the nation's entire public school enrollment. President Biden is spending more time talking about issues important to African Americans as he looks to shore up support with black voters ahead of the presidential election.
Today, the resistance comes in other insidious forms. An extreme movement led by my predecessor and his MAGA Republican allies, backed by an extreme Supreme Court, gutted affirmative action in college admissions.
This weekend, the president will deliver the commencement address at Morehouse College, a historically black college in the battleground state of Georgia. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
A CBS News poll from early March showed black voters' support for President Biden has dropped from the 87% who said they voted for him in 2020 to 76% who say they'll vote for him this year. Yesterday, President Biden signed a bipartisan Federal Aviation Administration reauthorization bill into law. The FAA bill aims to improve aviation safety and strengthen protections for passengers and airline workers. It renews authority for the FAA for the next 5 years and invests in air travel infrastructure nationwide. Former Trump lawyer John Eastman has pleaded not guilty to participating in a conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election results in Arizona. A grand jury handed down indictments last month charging Eastman and more than a dozen more Trump allies for their efforts to overturn his 2020 election defeat. The reported scheme included creating a slate of alternate electors from that state. Today, Eastman became the first defendant charged in the Arizona case to appear in court. An upside-down American flag was hung outside the home of Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito after the 2020 election. Yesterday, the New York Times reported that the flag was spotted hanging from the justice's home in January 2021. The upside-down flag became a symbol used by some supporters of former President Donald Trump who challenged the legitimacy of President Biden's victory. Hunter Biden is asking a judge to delay his tax case in California. The president's son is accused of repeatedly failing to file and pay his taxes on time. He's also accused of tax evasion by filing false returns. Additional charges accuse him of falsifying records related to his company's payroll. Hunter Biden has pleaded not guilty to all 9 charges. The trial for now is set for June. Hunter Biden also faces a gun case in Delaware, which is also scheduled to start next month. The man convicted of attacking former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, is being sentenced today. David Daypap was convicted in November of assault on the immediate family member of a federal official and 1 count of attempted kidnapping of a federal official. Daypap used a hammer in the attack, which happened inside the Pelosi San Francisco home in October 2022. The Justice Department is recommending a 40-year sentence. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, we find out if the original pillow tube does what it's designed to do.
Plus, we are warming up by Sunday, also for early next week. Those details after this break.
Hey Steve, congratulations on your 25th anniversary at WYMT. I'm very thankful for our time together. We spent a lot of time together, especially during those COVID days. Being the only few people at the station, you became a very close friend during that time as well. Sorry I almost killed you on Hillbilly Days, but glad we got to survive that storm together and that crazy day that we relive every year. I'm very thankful that you are still a very close friend, that you get to come down to Knoxville a lot and we get to visit with each other. Eastern Kentucky is just so grateful to have you. I know you're very loved up there, a very class act. I've learned a lot from you in this business about how you handle the breaking news stories and even those hard stories. So I've learned a lot from you. You're compassionate. Your love for Eastern Kentucky is something that is a very, very special, and I know that everyone can see. So congratulations on 25 years. We love you.